You're watching Behind the Screens. Grab some popcorn, fill up a drink, and take a seat. Our feature presentation is about to begin.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you may be listening. Welcome back to another brand new episode of Behind the Screens. I'm Chris Chason, and joined as always is my co-host and best friend, Mike Lickowed. Mike, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing very well today, Chris. I'm very happy to be back for another movie segment of Behind the Screens, continuing our superhero tradition.
Yep, and thankfully, I think this is where the DCEU started to really get its footing.
Yep, we've now moved into the back half of what I collectively known as Phase 1 of the DC Cinematic Universe. You've heard us talk about Man of Steel, Dawn of Justice, and Suicide Squad with two extended cuts of the three films. But with 2017 came a very much change in the direction of the DC Cinematic Universe that would shape it for the rest of its inception. That would be 2017's Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins.
Oh, this movie had a troubled history before being made onto the big screen. Like, wasn't this in development for like 20 years or so?
Yeah, basically, as with like all the superhero films before the cinematic universe concept was created, they tried to make films based on all these people for many, many years until finally breaking through in the last decade or so.
Yeah, and now this, even about 5 years later, this movie is still considered one of the best comic book movies out there.
I would most certainly say so without any shred of hesitation. I saw this film in theaters with my family 5 years ago, and my father, who's loved Wonder Woman ever since the Linda Carter days, found it to be an exceptional film because not only it combined the two things he loved most, the concept of Wonder Woman in war times, which is very nice.
Yeah, because with superhero movies, they're labeling it as their own genre. Me personally, I don't think that's it. Like, superhero movies have their own genre, and this movie, would you call it a wartime film?
I would consider it a wartime film because the Wonder Woman films have a very much different thing to the rest of the DC Cinematic Universe films. They tell Wonder Woman's story from the past to the present, with this film taking place nearly 100 years before the events of Man of Steel.
Yeah, so we kind of have a bit of a prequel to talk about here. But thankfully, it's nothing really that much ramifications going forward, but we'll save that for later.
Yep, so let us continue with the tradition of talking about first the plot of 2017's Wonder Woman, starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Robin Wright, Danny Huston, Kali Nielsen, and many others.
Let's go.
The plot begins in present-day Paris in 2017, about 2 years after the death of Superman.
Right.
Diana Prince receives a photographic plate from Wayne Enterprises of herself and four men during World War I, prompting her to go back to the past. It's basically the photo that Bruce found during the events of Dawn of Justice that Lex Luthor stole from her.
So now we're finally going to get an answer on that photo.
Which I was so excited about.
I was like,
that.
oh, yes, this is what I'm talking about.
Okay, Diana is the daughter of Queen Hippolyta of the tribe of Amazons. Diana was raised on the hidden island of Themyscira, a home of women warriors created by the Olympic gods to protect mankind. Hippolyta explains their history to a young Diana, including how Ares became jealous of humanity and orchestrated its destruction. When the other gods attempted to stop him, Ares killed all of them except for Zeus, who used the last of his power to wound Ares and force him to retreat.
Wait, hang on. Kill all the gods? When did Ares become Kratos from God of War?
Well, I mean, he's technically the god of war, so...
Oh, right. Yeah,
of course. See what I'm saying right there? Basically, before he dies himself, Zeus left the Amazons a weapon, the God Killer, to prepare them for the day when Ares would eventually return. Hippolyta reluctantly agrees to let her sister, Genelo, is it Antinope or...
I think so, yeah.
Antinope, train Diana as a warrior, which I think is really cool. Mm-hmm. We then cut to the final year of World War I in 1918. Diana, now a very young woman, rescues a U.S. pilot captain named Steve Trevor, played by the incredible Chris Pine.
Oh, yeah.
God bless him. When his plane crashes off the Themysciran coast. The island is soon overtaken by German soldiers who had been pursuing him. the Amazons wipe out the German landing force at the expense of heavy losses, including Diana's aunt sacrificing herself to save her. Man, Robin Wright was not in this movie very long, but she did... Oh, wait, no, that was Colleen Nielsen, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Colleen Nielsen was not in the movie very long, but she did such a great job.
Yeah,
as
that's
Diana's
like,
aunt.
yeah, it's like, she's one of those minor characters that wasn't in there for long, but you immediately found out that she had an impact.
Yep. Steve is interrogated with the lasso of truth. I know it has another name, but it's basically the lasso of truth.
Yeah, the technical name is called the Lasso of Hestia, because apparently Hestia is the goddess of truth. Please, Lasso of Truth is way cooler.
It's way cooler, and he reveals that a great war is consuming the outside world, and that he is an Allied spy.
Right, because back then World War I was considered the Great War, and World War II hasn't happened yet. So make with that what you will.
He has stolen a notebook from the Germans' chief chemist, Dr. Isabella Maru, aka Dr. Poison. Now, one thing that I did love about this movie, they turned Dr. Poison into a woman, which I found
because Dr. Poison was a man in the comics?
Pretty sure. Well, actually, apparently, like some incarnations, the incarnation of the female one was used for this one.
Oh, okay.
But the character was primarily male back in the early days.
Gotcha.
Which I think, okay, that's cool. Who is attempting to engineer a deadlier form of mustard gas under the orders of General Erich Ludendorff, played by Danny Huston.
Oh, yeah.
Now, remember him as William Stryker from X-Men Origins Wolverine? He's not in this movie as much as he was in that one.
But thank God this is a far cry better.
Yeah, definitely. Believing Ares to be responsible for the war, Diana arms herself with the God Killer sword, the lasso, and armor before leaving Themyscira with Steve to locate and stop Ares for good. Now that's a very condensed version of the scene of what actually happened. There's some very cute, awkward moments between Steve and Diana while they try to explain their worlds to one another.
Yeah,
and I really do like this kind of thing right
there.
Yeah,
it's a nice little subtle back and forth banter, and it helps mold the characters more, makes them prepare for what's to come.
Exactly, and of course the scene when Diana scales the tower to get the God Killer sword, I was blown away.
Yeah, I looked at her and I'm like, I know Wonder Woman's powerful, but jeez, she's determined.
And of course, this movie kind of contributes to why Hippolyta is one of my least favorite DC characters. Let me tell you, she's probably one of my least favorite mother characters in fiction as well. Basically, one of those female characters who was probably dealt a bad hand with men in her past, and to keep her daughter safe, keeps her away from all men all the time. It's I know the characters like this are meant to grow into things better, but I hate that they start in the worst possible place.
Yeah, I mean, explain a few other incarnations like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
Exactly. So then we have a very nice scene of them sailing a boat all the way to London, which I think is very nice. This movie has great chemistry between Gal Gadot and Chris Pine.
Exactly.
Let me tell you, so
have
fantastic.
they worked on a movie before?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So then they get to London. They deliver the notebook to the Supreme War Council, where Sir Patrick Morgan is trying to negotiate an armistice with Germany. Diana translates the notes, revealing that the Germans plan to release the deadly gas at the Western Front. Although forbidden by his commander to act, Steve, with secret funding from Sir Patrick, recruits Moroccan spy named Samir, a Scottish marksman named Charlie, and a Native American smuggler named Chief Nappy to help prevent the gas from being released. Now, this movie does contain a lot of those scenes from those period movies where obviously the British men, because it's usually the British men who are portrayed speaking these kinds of lines, trying to shoo Diana away because she is a woman. Women can't think thoughts. They're basically washing machines with mouths. It's basically like, God damn it, I hate our ancestors for the love of all Christ.
Yeah, because I can't believe we were able to talk about this.
Oh yeah, I know. Let me tell you about that. And I love how Diana shows all of them up. I love it. I would love to be there to watch those big honking military generals be talked down to by a woman, which was a disgrace back in those days.
I'd probably be, if I was in that room and saw it, I'd be
completely shutting it all down. Yeah, I'd be clapping for
I'd be clapping, and then they'd be looking at me. I'm like,
How dare you support the fairer sex, the weaker gender?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I hate these people.
Moving on.
Basically, Diana goes alone. So the team searches the front in Belgium. They do a really good job, a really good PG job, but like a PG-13 job, but still not a great job of less portraying war, because it really does show how seamless the transition is from the normal lives of the civilians to the hardened lives of the soldiers on the front.
Yeah.
Seeing Diana try ice cream for the first time.
That was
is
nice.
fantastic.
That's subtle humor. I feel like Patty Jenkins took inspiration from the first Thor film when we were trying to do fish out of water.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what it is. This movie is basically a combination of Thor and the next film we'll be covering, Captain America: The First Avenger, where it basically shows a fish out of water story, but also a period piece as well.
Exactly.
It like shows Diana going off to war, but like trying ice cream, marching along with the soldiers before getting to the front line and seeing children going hungry and blasted to pieces. Wonder Woman is just in complete awe and shock that like any of this could be happening, and how could such evil exist in the world? She can't comprehend it.
I don't think anybody can. It's
no.
war.
It's just, I mean, it's so, and I'll be like covering this one like we get through the plot. But of course, the best scene in the whole movie,
yes,
probably the best scene, like one of the top 3 scenes in all 10 of the released films and the one show so far. Wonder Woman going through no man's land
that
to take out the
scene is
German
just
soldiers.
amazing. She's blocking bullets through the bracelet, pulling out the shield, just taking everything, and it's just like, God damn!
It's amazing. The music too absolutely helps.
Yeah, like, because it's basically the same music she was used to introduce herself in Dawn of Justice, except it's taken on a much grander scale.
Exactly.
Because this is her movie. She's not playing side fair. It's like, move over, Batman. This is her time to shine.
She captures the enemy trench and liberates the nearby village of Veld with the aid of the Allied forces, which is an even better fight when we go to the building, showing how she's just as capable of handing herself against people in close combat with far range.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so good. I can't even tell you. You have to see the scenes for yourself. The team briefly celebrates taking a photograph in the village, where, of course, Diana and Steve fall in love with each other. But it's like, okay, I like this very much. And this thing is like, even though I'm not as big of a pusher these days for male-on-female relationships and stuff like that, I love Diana and Steve's relationship so gosh darn much. I will like stay for that forever. I'll stay for that. Lois and Clark. Stay for, maybe like Harley and Ivy, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dick Grayson and Starfire, all those different comic relationships. The team learns that a gala will be held at the nearby German High Command. Steve and Diana separately infiltrate the party. Steve intends to locate the gas and destroy it, and Diana hopes to kill General Ludendorff, believing he is Ares in disguise. Diana is under this very naive impression that if she kills one man, the war will be over and all evil will be thrusted from man's world. But I can't wait to get to the part where it all blows up in her face.
Pretty much, yeah.
Of course, Steve stops her to avoid jeopardizing the mission, but this allows Ludendorff to unleash the gas on the village they just saved, killing everybody, including the children. And of course, blaming Steve for intervening, Diana pursues Ludendorff to a base where the gas is being loaded onto a bomber aircraft, which will completely annihilate the city of London. And of course, it's such a heartbreaking scene for Diana to blame the humans, basically saying that her mother was right, humanity doesn't deserve to be saved because it's just inherently evil. And she's 100% right. We are evil, monstrous creatures.
Well, yeah, but remember, not every human is like that.
Nobody's born good in this world, Chris. Nobody's born evil. It's just choices.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm getting at. And the choice people that are good, well, they try to get through to Diana, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Diana fights Ludendorff, who is... Okay, so he's basically on this drug that the doctor found out, somehow, some way, and basically makes him invulnerable to harm, until, of course, he fights Diana with her amazing fighting prowess, and she does manage to kill General Ludendorff. But surprise, surprise, the war is still going on, even though Ares, quote-unquote, is dead.
Well, it's time for the actual twist.
but is very confused and disillusioned when his death doesn't stop it. Sir Patrick appears out of frickin' nowhere and reveals himself as the real Ares. He tells Diana that although he has suddenly given humans ideals and inspirations, it is ultimately their decision to resort to violence, as they are inherently corrupt, as is everything in the universe.
I mean, he's got a point.
Because, so Ares reveals that he was the one that gave Dr. Poison the idea for the Ludendorff strengthening poison. And of course, he was the one giving all these people ideas. He's been manipulating humans, but it was ultimately their decision to act upon the impulses. And he makes a very good argument. Like, I really have to admit that even though Sir Patrick being Ares is really, really, really stupid.
Yes, it's stupid.
Like, he makes such a good argument.
You think it would be better if Ares was just a separate character and not Sir Patrick?
No, because, like, I'd be like if, like, Sir Patrick was just a puppet of Ares. Basically.
That actually works, too.
Basically, it's like his voice was coming out of his mouth and then, like, he was coming from somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was like a coat that, like, he was wearing. Almost like a wolf, like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Gotcha. Oh, nice.
To resort to violence. When Diana attempts to kill Ares with the God Killer sword, it's destroyed, telling that Diana the sword was never the God Killer. She is. She's the daughter of Zeus, a god. Basically, the god killer.
Well, thanks for that information.
So it's like, okay, so she's Zeus's daughter, which is like, okay, I get it.
It will explain the whole power she displayed earlier in the movie, which was basically just a giant bracelet kaboom.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so she does have these godlike powers. He fails to persuade Diana to help him destroy mankind in order to restore paradise to Earth. The two battle, and Steve's team destroys Mars' laboratory. And then, of course, in the battle, Ares does put on the traditional comic book outfit of the horny helmet with the open sash, but the CG looks horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, look, the costume is very accurate to the comics, especially the modern incarnation of Ares, but the CG, what happened?
Exactly. They should have just given him a black, like opening right here with the red eyes. Like, that's exactly what it should. Just do that. Have him put the helmet on, the glowing red eyes, perfectly fixed. I wouldn't have anything to say about it. It's what it would have been one of the best looks of all of them. But no, they couldn't even do that.
Nope.
Steve hijacks and pilots the bomber carrying the poison to a safe altitude and detonates it, sacrificing himself to save hundreds of thousands of lives. And that, my friends, is the definition of a DC hero.
Yep.
Steve Trevor knew he wasn't coming back from this trip and knew that the only way to save people was to die. And even though it's very, very tragic, and I hate it so gosh darn much, it's so good.
Yeah, it fits. I mean, but we'll never see Steve Trevor again in a movie.
Exactly. Ares attempts to direct Diana's rage and grief at Steve's death by convincing her to kill Dr. Poison, saying that she is the ultimate example of the human's corruption. Selfish, ambitious, basically just taking advantage of a dire situation to make her life better. And of course, Diana almost does it. She almost gives in to the temptations of evil. But of course, the memories of her experiences with Steve cause her to remember that every human has the capacity to be good, even though a small percentage of them are pure evil.
There it is.
And I love that about Diana. The spirit of truth and justice will always reign within her, no matter
even
what
though
happens.
Superman's saying is truth, justice, in the American way, Diana channels that a little bit better. Heck, she has a freaking lasso of truth, so there you go.
I kind of feel like that saying is Diana is truth, Batman is justice, and Superman is the American way. The ultimate trinity.
Yeah, you can say that.
Exactly. She then spares Dr. Poison, but then redirects Ares' lightning into him, killing him for good. Later, the team celebrates the end of the war. In present day, Diana sends an email to Bruce Wayne, thanking him for the photograph of her and Steve. She continues to fight on the world's behalf as Wonder Woman into the future for later adventures. But we'll just have to see about that when it comes.
No post-credit scene this time, so sorry.
No, which is very unique. I always forget that there's no post-credit scene for this movie.
because not every movie in the DCEU has that.
Exactly. Oh my god, this film incredible. Let me tell you
Yeah,
one thing.
very good.
Staying at house right now. The film was Zack Snyder contributed to the film's story. Patty Jenkins directed it, as well as Zack Snyder to produce it along with his wife, just like a bunch of other of these movies.
Yep.
The film was released in the summer of 2017, is 2 hours and 10 minutes long without credits, and was made on $135 million.
That's it?
Yeah, but it made a resounding $822 million at the box office, meaning that this film made 6 times its money back.
That shows you that's a real success right there.
Yep, and of course continuing the then trend of the DC Cinematic Universe for always making the top 10 highest grossing lists of the respective year, with of course Man of Steel being on the 2013 list, Dawn of Justice and Suicide Squad being on the 2016 list, and of course Wonder Woman was reportedly the 10th most successful film of 2017.
Which is very understandable, but considering the fact that year also had movies like Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming, and Coco.
Yeah, Logan too.
That too, yeah. It's hard to compete, but regardless of that, this movie is still incredible.
Indeed. Development of a live-action Wonder Woman film began all the way back in 1996, with the now late Ivan Reitman to produce and possibly direct. Which of course would have been nice.
Interesting.
Yeah, the project floundered in development hell for many years, including the likes of Joss Whedon. Hell no.
No, we'll get to that. We'll save that for Justice League.
Yeah, we'll save that for a future one. Among others, both were attached to the project. Wonder Woman then announced in 2010 that the project had been revamped, and Patty Jenkins signed on to direct the film in 2015 during the production of Dawn of Justice. Inspiration for this movie was drawn from Wonder Woman's creator, William Moulton Marston, from the 1940s stories he originally made, and from Georges Perez's run post-Crisis on Infinite Earths.
That's right,
In 1980, as well as the New 52 incarnation of the character. The less said about that version of Diana, the better, though.
Oh, come on.
I will have more than enough to say about that. You know I will. But
right.
basically, everything was going very much well for this movie. The film received many positive reviews with praise for its directing, the acting, the visuals, the action sequences, and of course, the music. The American Film Institute selected it as one of the top 10 films of 2017, and of course, it won a Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation.
Makes sense.
Fan-frickin-tastic. Now, of course, we go to the tradition I love most, talking about the cast. Once again, talking about Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Oh my god, she is fantastic.
Yeah, there's no denying. She's, like, amazing.
There could be no other Wonder Woman live-action actress these days other than Gal Gadot herself.
That's true, yeah.
The woman brings the wide-eyed innocence that comes with a younger version of her character, but also the brutal ferocity that comes with a Greek goddess.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, it's demonstrated most in her warrior prowess because of, like, her fighting skill. And, of course, Gal Gadot had military training, so she was used to some of this fight work.
Absolutely, being part of the Israeli occupation force. And I got a lot, it's like, occupation or opposition, I can never honestly remember.
But regardless, yeah, she was really good. And you could see that on the fight side. Like, she was like, they wanted to go for, like, hard hits with their equipment, like, bash with the shield, swing with the sword, like, take out stuff, like, knock people out. Like, it's basically, like, brute force.
Yeah, basically. Gal Gadot said when describing Wonder Woman and her appeal, she's relatable. She has the heart of a human and is very compassionate. But her experiences, or lack thereof, her naivete, really, make her interested in everything around her and able to view the world in a way that we'd all like to, with genuine curiosity.
Well,
and it really is so true.
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of children are like that.
Mm-hmm. Gal Gadot said about her relationship with her mom, Diana is a very opinionated girl. Her mother is also very opinionated. Her mother is very protective, as well as they have, the very natural clash that a mother has with her daughters. For the first time, they want to leave home.
Understandable.
And it's so true.
Understandable.
It's so very much
Although,
true.
I never really pictured Diana as opinionated.
No,
I mean, I get she stands for her beliefs, but...
Oh my god, I really think that Wonder Woman is the dictionary definition of an opinionated woman.
How so?
Because she's so strong, powerful, stands tall, and never ever gives in to anybody's demands. She will always stand tall for what she believes, even to the point of death. Which is why...
Fair enough. Okay, all right, I'll give you that.
Which is why when I hate when I hate seeing her being written by the likes of Frank Miller, the stuff like that, basically turned her into a farce. I'm not going to tell you that much.
Let's just get past that.
And of course, whenever she succumbs to the anti-life equation, I call BS on that.
What?
Wonder Woman should be completely hypnotism-proof. It's something that I always gripe about. Like
We'll save that, but
she can't really be affected by such things.
yeah, not to mention the fact, like, one aspect, like, one scene that really comes up is, like, where she is getting changed to those clothes and working with Steve's secretary. And
my god, okay.
That seems fun.
I will definitely get into his secretary when we get down to her character, but basically on taking the role, Gal Gadot said, I feel very privileged that I got the opportunity to portray such an iconic, strong female character. I adore this character and everything she stands for and everything she symbolizes. Very nice. On Diana going to the new world, she said, when Diana comes to the real world, she's completely oblivious about gender and society rules that women are not equal to men. And of course, it's so darn true. Like,
yeah.
She's never had to deal with inequality and racism and stuff like that.
No, because, well...
It's a product of man's world.
Sadly, yes.
It really is. Those at the top make lives awful for those at the bottom, and it's something that will probably never ever go away, which is very much a very sad thing indeed. Yeah. Just basically describing Diana's relationship with her family, she says she is the only child they raised together, and their love for her manifests in a different way for each other. And of course, Patty Jenkins herself, when working closely with Gal Gadot all these years, said, Gal quickly became the person I wanted to talk to everything about. We'd shoot together all day, and then on weekends we'd be like, what do you want to do? That's maybe not totally normal.
No, it's not, but that's amazing.
Basically, Gal became like Patty's best friend while making this movie. And I gotta say, that is such a great relationship to have.
Well, you used to be surprised on the amount of chemistry that some actors have on set when filming movies or TV shows. They really end up becoming like a family unit or something.
Yep. Wonder Woman's portrayal in this movie is one of the best superhero performances I have ever seen. For many years to come. I'll give Gal Gadot the thumbs up.
And do we still stand by the positive stuff we said about her in Dawn of Justice?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Now, next, of course, is the delicious Chris Pine playing Steve Trevor.
Yeah, this was an interesting casting choice, but it paid off.
Basically, Pine said that on his role, I'm an American pilot who's a spy. It's like a boy's dream. You're either a spy or a fighter pilot. The first thing I wanted to be was a fire pilot for the longest time. I wanted to be Goose from Top Gun. Which I think is very nice, that he basically got to be both at the same time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Very, really cool on that. As is how to portray his moral character, basically saying, how do you portray a mortal talking to a Greek Amazon? And then, of course, he said,
that's hard.
When I first read the script, it had elements of Romancing the Stone, kind of a very classic fish out of water story. Two people that don't really bond well at first, and they're butting heads, and it's just fun and witty banter. And exactly right. Like, it's all about having fun. Don't take yourself too seriously. Just enjoy the ride. And I absolutely adore that about this movie.
Yeah.
When basically talking about his first interaction with Patty Jenkins and everybody, Chris Pine said, Patty is a pretty incredible human being. When we first met about the part of Steve, she sat across from me and essentially acted out the entire film over the course of 2 hours. She was so specific and so articulate and so ardent and so ardent. I would have said yes just for Patty saying I had to play Steve Trevor alone. It's like, I love that. Like how everyone was so hyped to be in this movie. Chris Pine went through a workout regimen for this movie. Every single male character goes through a workout thing to be in a superhero movie. Every single person commenting, I got in incredible shape for the movie, but he was also joking. I was also wearing about 75 pounds of clothing. What I realized is that I made a major mistake. I got in great shape and they put all these clothes over me. Crap! That's the thing, is because he basically worked out so hard he only gets like one shirtless scene, and it's like,
that whole thing.
I will appreciate that scene forever, though. So I definitely loved Chris Pine's character, all things considered.
Absolutely.
His nice, kind, genuine demeanor, just wanting to do the right thing in a world basically tearing itself apart through madness.
Well, that's what war does to you.
The dude has incredibly funny moments, too. He's probably one of my favorite characters across all of these movies and one TV show, without a single shadow of a doubt. His sacrifice will always remain one of the most sad moments of any of these parts of the story, and I will forever miss his portrayal, but still be remembered as one of the best. So I'll give him the thumbs up as well. Now let's go on to Robin Wright as Antibes, the sister of Hippolyta and Diana's niece. On being cast, she said, it's twofold because when Patty Jenkins called me, the director, it was a 3-minute long conversation. She said, I'm doing a movie about Wonder Woman. Do you want to be her trainer? And I was like, yes, of course.
Oh, wow.
That was all she had to say.
Interesting.
And she was in. And basically the general of the Amazonian army, that was pretty cool. When she described her character about mentoring Diana, she said, it's a sixth sense that it is coming, and I think that's also in the mythological story behind Antibean Queen Hippolyta. They know it's coming, and it's her duty as the aunt to her young niece to make sure she is the fiercest warrior of them all. And it so is true because the fight scenes in this, especially the training ones, because usually I don't really like training scenes in movies.
Really? Why not?
They're either really boring or just there to pad the story out. Basically,
have you ever seen a movie with a good training montage? Besides this movie?
Kingsman.
Yes, Kingsman.
Kingsman definitely had one of the better training scenes. In fact, I just got finished watching a football film which had a lot of training things in it.
Which one?
Invincible, the film that Disney made back in 2006 with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh yeah, that one.
And of course, that one was really good too. It just all depends on how you pace the training, whether it's not too.
Yeah,
fast,
and considering
not
what
too
we're dealing
slow.
with, considering the training here, she's training Wonder Woman essentially from childhood, because Diana was a young girl when first starting the training, and then we see the traditional progression of it, and then it gets to a point where Diana becomes powerful, and I'm like, what have I done?
It's so freaking good. Let me just take a quick look see at this. Basically, describing the fighting style, it's hand combat, yes, swords and knives and arrows, but the precision they have, right, as these warrior women. It's so nice to see that disparity between what we had in the day of just raw fighting materials and the guns and how easy that is in comparison. It really shows the differentiating between the fighting styles, especially the fight on the beach, using guns against arrows.
Oh, yeah.
I was taught way back in social studies, probably in 10th grade, that guns will always beat hand-to-hand fighting. But of course, there's one thing that using a gun is easy. Staying alive is the hard part.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Basically, the message of the movie, as told from Robin Wright's perspective, is it's not just female empowerment. It's about love and justice. That's what this film is about, and what a great message to spread to our young ones, especially our young women. It's so dang true. Because honestly, DC is one of the things. Because now that we mentioned this, DC got their solo female movie out before Marvel did, and Marvel had a 5 to 6 year head start.
Surprisingly.
And it really just shows, DC didn't give a about giving the women the starring role, only the ensemble movies. And
thanks, Marvel.
Yes, of course, and DC outshined all of them. One of the few times they did, but it was so worth it. Commenting on her training for the movie, Robin Wright said, the most empowering was to get into that physical shape. So we were doing horseback riding training, weight training, martial arts, and about 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day. And it's like, oh my gosh, she pushed herself to the limit.
Yeah,
even though Robin Wright was not in this movie a whole heck of a lot, she did give it her all, even to her last dying breath.
Absolutely.
And of course left a lasting impact that honestly set the tone for this movie perfectly. I know that we'll be seeing her at least a couple more times during this cinematic universe run of DC, so I will give Robin Wright a thumbs up as well.
Oh yeah.
Next, let's go to Danny Huston as Erich Ludendorff, the Iron Fist leading general of the German army. Danny Huston described his character as a pragmatist, realist, patriotic, fighting for his country, further explaining, he lost his son on the German front lines and was just quite tortured, diabolical, stubborn, and believes that what he's doing is for the betterment of mankind. On his character, Huston said, Ludendorff is a believer that war is a natural habitat for humans. He stated that the film is as anti-war as it is about somebody like Ludendorff. Let me see. Okay, so yes, he said that it's as anti-war as it is about actual war.
Really?
Saying that somebody like Ludendorff would probably think that the idea that love conquers all is quite naive. But finally, it's true, and sometimes the best way to examine mankind is from another perspective. On the genre of the film, Huston said, it's Greek mythology. It's the origin of story, and sometimes we need demigods to look at us to understand what our weaknesses are. It serves the mythological world that this film is trying to establish.
Sounds about right.
And it's so darn true, let me tell you that much. So very true. Oh my goodness. Like, I gotta tell you, Danny Huston killed it as the scary German general. I do have to think that maybe my most favorite scene with him outside of the final fight was when he gassed the other German general.
That was cruel. Like, that one scene alone showed you how cruel this guy was.
Exactly. Especially throwing the gas in and one gas mask, seeing them kill each other over it, but knowing the mask wouldn't save them from the gas anyway, and laughing about it. It's like,
I'm guessing. You can see that as laughing. It's like, take that, fox.
It's like, God, that is so freaking mad. And I think it's like, okay, I love characters like this. The characters, I know that it's not best to like characters who are just evil for the sake of being evil.
Right.
But you know, this guy pulls it off so gosh darn well.
Pretty much, yeah.
I can't even be mad at it. So definitely an advanced showing from a more advanced character for Danny Huston to portray. I'll give his performance as General Ludendorff a thumbs up as well.
Absolutely.
Now let's do I want to talk about this guy? Because I'm pretty yes I do. Okay, so let's now talk about Ares, aka Sir Patrick Morgan.
Oy, this whole thing.
Now he is the speaker for peace on the Imperial War Council, despite being the god of war Ares himself in disguise. When describing his character, his actor David Thewlis said, Sir Patrick's entire drive through the other half of the story is just to bring about the armistice. That's his whole intention, no matter what's going on. He meets Diana and sees in her somebody who is sympathetic to his cause, quite vehemently so. It shows that he saw Diana as the perfect catalyst to wage his big thing. He saw in her his ultimate threat, but also his greatest weapon. If he can bring her over to his side, all would be lost for humanity. And I gotta say, thank goodness his plan didn't work.
Thank God.
I will say though, the bad CG of his of the big fight between him and Diana is ultimately one of the few bad things I didn't like about this movie.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would say that because let's just be honest, like that's borderline like. Hold on, I need another movie with bad CGI. What happened? Yeah, it's about as bad. Honestly, it's about as bad as that as Superman's CGI mustache.
I will talk a page about that garbage next time. But of course, we'll be doing all of that stuff going forward. I gotta say that Sir Patrick Morgan is the villain of Ares compared to the likes of General Zod, Lex Luthor, and the Enchantress. Gotta say, he's definitely on the upper spectrum, but probably not by much. Not by much.
If you had to compare him to like an MCU villain, who would you compare him to?
I definitely compare him to, I want to say the Red Skull, but then again, the Red Skull was probably a better villain than this guy was.
I compare him to maybe Yellow Jacket from the first Ant-Man movie, because Yellow Jacket didn't really do a whole lot. He didn't either.
Oh my God.
I mean, am I wrong?
No, he didn't really do much of anything in the grand scheme of things. Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
Yeah, but ultimately, at least minus the CGI stuff, he brings a lot of conviction to this character. He speaks truth. He speaks like he's an actual guy at war.
Oh my goodness, yeah, he does. He speaks very pontificatedly about his situation.
Nice word.
At the end of the day, the performance was very well done, even if the CG didn't fully carry the performance to the finish line.
Yeah, so you say the performance maybe like a high middle thumb?
Yeah, high-ish right there.
Alright, that's fair.
Oh my goodness. What is our next character to look at? We have to look at Connie Nielsen as Hippolyta.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness.
Should we though? Or should we save that for the next movie?
No, we have to talk about her.
Alright.
There we go.
Yeah, let's just say Hippolyta's not really been the best on our radar.
Nope. After the meeting with the director, Connie Nielsen... Okay, so Connie Nielsen is Hippolyta, Robin Wright is Antilope.
Yeah.
So it's so confusing. Basically, Connie Nielsen said that Patty and I met in London and we just hit it off from the get-go. We couldn't stop talking. What was supposed to be an hour-long meeting turned into a 2.5-hour one, and we just really got to know each other. She basically described Patty Jenkins' directing as, she's also the kind of director that I really flourish under. She was very strong and particular and specific ideas about what it is she wants to say. She comes from a place of strength always. And so when you are dealing with someone like that, you feel absolutely free to be vulnerable, to be creative, and I am a big researcher. Basically saying on the character of playing Hippolyta, she was like, it was a complete and utter pleasure, and I absolutely loved every second of playing her. When talking about being Diana's mother, she said, I'm queen, and I'm preparing my child for a world that entails a lot of responsibility, so it was important to me to bring that into the character. Apparently she read the book The Amazons to familiarize herself with what a female warrior is supposed to be like. And she said, I used what I learned in the book as a rallying cry for how I approached Hippolyta. And then, of course, what is a leader who is elected by her peers every year and has been doing this for 1,000 years? That was too interesting to think about. I really do love how much research she dug into just to play this minor character role.
Yeah. That's like going the extra mile, if I'm being honest.
It really, really is. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of Hippolyta's character against the biggest thing about the DC universe, oh my gosh, she was, like, Connie Nielsen did a really good job with what she was given. Very much so. Connie Nielsen went through a workout regimen for the film. She said that she did 6 hours a day. 2 hours of weight training, 2 hours of sword training, and then 2 hours of horseback riding. Which, of course, she trained 6 hours just to get everything right. And I think she pulled it off very well.
Yeah, me too.
Producer Zack Snyder was the one who fought for Connie Nielsen to get the role after all of the previous candidates turned down the role.
Really?
Including Charlize Theron. Now, I would not have been as happy as Charlize Theron being in this because she doesn't feel authentic enough.
What do you mean?
Because I don't look at her and I see the queen of the Amazons. I see a modern day female fatale, basically.
Okay, that actually makes sense. I'll give you that. Yeah, but like any other noteworthy candidates that turned down the role?
Nope, just her.
Okay. Yeah, but who would have thought Zack Snyder of all people fighting for Connie Nielsen to get the part?
Exactly. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Hippolyta's character, she served the purpose of being Diana's protective mother until she wasn't needed anymore.
Exactly.
But is what I've always liked to learn about mothers. They never truly stop being needed.
That is true. Yeah, that's true.
So I'll give her the middle thumbs up. Not for being the best character, but for being an enjoyable
at least doing her job.
Yes, basically. And I think that's all of the... Oh, no, we have one last before we go into the speed round. We have to talk about the actress who portrayed Dr. Isabella Maru, Elena Enana. The chief chemist associated with Dr. Ludendorff and who specializes in chemistry and poisons.
Right, Dr. Poison. She was interesting.
Oh, my God. Let me just get into my notes about her really quick.
Although, honestly, when I first saw her in the movie and the way her face looked, I'm like, jeez, that's terrifying.
I know, it's like the makeup on her and all the stuff that made her prosthetic because, mind you, her face is half missing because she works with chemicals all day.
Oh, yeah.
It really does show that she did an outstanding job portraying a character like this. She basically said that, well, it was a small role in the grand scheme of things, but it is an important character to play. I'm going to be a big nightmare for Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor.
That totally delivered.
When describing her character, she said that Dr. Poison loves rage and enjoys people's pain. She's creating horrible weapons, and her purpose in life is to kill as many people as possible and to provoke as much pain as possible.
That's
damn, I love that description.
That is an interesting description and very accurate to what we saw.
It fits Ares' definition of her accurate. Ares never really lied to Diana about anything.
Exactly.
That's what makes it so true. I love it when the villain never half-asses their motive. Then, Ares may have had bad presentation, but the concept of him in the film was great.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Have any other villains tried to do that? I don't think so.
So to prepare for the role, she researched the topic of World War I and Fritz Haber, the scientist who created mustard gas over a century ago.
All right.
On the character's facial scars, she said, I went to Patty Jenkins and asked, what happened to her? And she said, she did it on purpose. I was like, what? Patty, you're going further than I ever imagined. She said she wants to provoke painful suffering, so she tested her own gas on her own face. And it's so basically, that is dark as shit. Like this movie's been out for 5 years, and I've never known that she did that facial scarring to herself.
Jesus.
Because it's crazy. She wanted to know how deep this form of her gas would go, so she put it on her own face. You can see half of her face is completely gone.
Yeah.
This is the true sadistic side of Dr. Poison. Mm-hmm. She also stated that her character is quite the opposite to the lead role of this movie, one of the strongest characters ever of DC Comics, Wonder Woman. I can tell you that Dr. Poison is someone with a capacity to provoke so much pain. On her relationship with the General, her actress said, I think that they have a relationship based on loyalty. Ludendorff is a very tormented general that lacks self-confidence. That's why, in part, he takes these drugs that Dr. Poison gives him. They are from different worlds, but they complement each other. Basically, she looks to him to give him the strength to carry on. That is so nice. Like I say, I love it when villains have those kinds of relationships like that. It makes it all the more interesting, aside from just the giggling, like, manic types of characters.
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, there are the good types of those, but that's rare.
Yep. Okay, so Dr. Poison was supposed to come back in one of the later films, having found out that a side effect of her gas meant that she could basically live forever. But then, of course, they decided to snap that out, which I'm thinking, I would have loved to have seen more.
Awesome!
Yeah, I know. But of course, with a lot of the changes that happened in the DC Cinematic Universe following the next movie, a bunch of the stuff was either reworked, altered, or thrown out entirely, including bringing her to the modern day, even though she survives the events of this movie.
Oh boy.
So, big sad. I'll definitely give her the middle thumbs up because she's such a great design, so complex in how little she does, which gives plenty of room for interpretation, and I love the final resolution with her.
Oh yeah, totally.
Hopefully she can find better friends on the other side, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I get that.
And now we only have a few more characters to go through the lightning round, beginning of course with one of my favorite characters, Lucy Davis, aka Etta Candy from this.
Oh my god, yes, she's like amazing.
Look, I was very, not sure if I'd like Etta or not, but let me tell you, she immediately won me over after a while.
Like, some of the stuff, like the subtle humor she brings up, it's just... It's like something you would actually hear. Like British people are like no nonsense. They just like say what's up.
I know, she was so kind and bubbly, and it really did fit the characterization that they had plotted out for her decades ago.
Absolutely.
She's just somebody that you can trust. And of course, for someone like Steve to trust a woman that much in the late 1910s was very rare.
Yeah,
but
I will admit though, some of the stuff is sort of like some of the humor is really funny. Like one scene where she first meets Diana and it talks about her secretary position. Diana's like, "Oh, so you're basically under him?" Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but like, well, where I'm from, that's called slavery. I'm like, damn.
It's like, wow, oh my goodness.
That's a bit, wow.
I mean, it's like she was 100% right. The female sex is completely dominated by the male ones all the time. Which, of course, that most certainly needs to change. But at least they made light of it. They poked at it just enough to get us to look.
Yeah, it's like poking the bear with a stick, but not too much.
Etta was very helpful, even though she wasn't really on the front lines, always being by the phones, telling our characters where to go. She was very essential without ever being in contact with any of the main plot things. And of course, I think she was in the room with Ares for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's honestly, I would have loved to have seen her realize that he may not be all that, they think he is, but I would have loved a little bit more scenes, especially the scene on the Wonder Woman Blu-ray that should have been the post-credit scene of the film, which showed Etta taking the Steve Trevor gang to go look for something that would be used in the next movie.
Oh, really?
Basically something called a mother box. And of course, I'm thinking that scene cut from this movie should have been the post-credit scene.
Wait, when was this?
It was on the Blu-ray of Wonder Woman.
No, was it during the wartime? After the war was over?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. And it was I'm guessing it was that mother box of man.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Now that should have been in this movie. The fact that it wasn't bums the hell out of me.
Yeah, that does kind of suck.
But of course, I will give Edna the thumbs up for how incredibly amazing she
Absolutely.
was, and I hoped that we'd see more of her. But from what we got, especially the scene in the clothes store, that mind you, when they have to buy Diana new clothes.
Oh, that was funny
for this whole transition into the modern day.
Yeah, and even still in clothes, Diana's carrying a sword and shield, and it's like, let me hold on to those.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I guess the other characters we need to talk about are, well, the crew that Diana works with.
Yes, we have to talk about Samir, which is basically a secret agent and ally to Steve Trevor.
Charlie, the drunken sharpshooter.
Yep. Okay, so Samir stated that I was among hundreds of potential candidates and I slowly became the favorite, adding, it wasn't easy. It took me 3 months of physical training. So it's like, this dude's very much a fast talker, a liar, the jokester. I really did enjoy his part.
He was good.
Yep. Charlie's played by Ewan Bremen. He said that I play a character who is enlisted by Wonder Woman to help save the world as a part of a small, unlikely band, describing it as he's a shell-shocked soldier who's been discharged from the war and is brought back to help on this secret mission. On working with Patty Jenkins, he said, Patty Jenkins is a force of nature. She has fantastic vision, strength, and enthusiasm, which is completely infectious and motivates a cast and crew of thousands to really go beyond themselves. Charlie was the drunken guy who would really always get into fights and lose them, but he was very talented with music and shooting.
Absolutely,
He's definitely the kind of guy that you always need on your team, always have a sharpshooter when going to war.
And maybe keep the booze away from him.
I know, but he's so funny. I love seeing Scottish guys get
That's
drunk.
true. And then, of course, we got, what was it, Captain Pally or something?
Chief. Yeah,
Chief Pally.
Believe it or not, he's a demigod, just like Wonder Woman.
Really?
Which I'm thinking is like,
in DC Comics he is?
Yeah.
Wow.
Basically, he is a Blackfoot Native American tribe demigod and a smuggler who trades with both sides of the war. He's basically like a better version of Benedicto del Toro's character from The Last Jedi.
Really?
Yeah, basically.
We'll get there.
On his casting, Eugene Braverock, his actor, said, I had no idea it was for Wonder Woman. I lost it when I showed up and I couldn't remember my lines. I didn't take it literally until a month later, so I got a call saying I got the role and they wanted me to fly to London for fitting. Braverock raised several concerns with Jenkins over the original representation of the character in the movie, particularly that he was not comfortable playing into the stereotypes that was in the original version of the script for Native Americans.
Uh-oh.
So it's like, thank goodness he pointed that shit out, because this would have been a 2 out of 10 had they kept those stereotypes in.
Really?
Like, this movie could have easily dropped it.
Well, to be fair though, given Native
that
American
much.
stereotypes, yikes.
Yes.
Thankfully that didn't happen. That's
Basically, and that he was not keen on his character simply being called Chief. So basically, he then told people, if you watch the movie, if you talk about it, do not call me Chief.
Yeah, we can call you that. Should we say his full name, Chief Pally, or can we just call him Pally?
Nappy. I believe so, yes. Patty Jenkins responded by giving him some extra creative control over his character. And
That's
said
good.
And said that she was...
I'm surprised more directors haven't done that.
I know, I'm just so
I'm sure some have, but it's more like on maybe TV shows and not so much movies.
Exactly.
But who knows?
Oh, my goodness. Then, of course, we have all the other... apparently there was a lieutenant played by another actress in this movie that I honestly don't remember about, honestly. But, of course, one of the cameos I did want to talk about before we move on to the reception and the awards is, of course, Zack Snyder was one of the soldiers fighting on the front lines. But it's basically a blink and you'll miss it moment.
Oh, man. It's not as weird as Peter Jackson making cameos in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yep. Let me just take a look and see what this film egregiously won, because I've
sure I won a few things.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so you basically this film both won runner-up and was nominated for countless films. So much so that we really don't have time to talk about all of them, because I'm pretty sure there's at least 50 awards here that this movie either won or was nominated for. So I'll simply go through the wins.
Yeah. So what's the most notable?
Okay, so this film won a AARP's Movie for Grown-Ups award. It was one of the top 10 films of the year from the American Film Institute.
Of course.
Basically, let me take a look at this. This film won a Critics' Choice at Best Action Movie award.
Huh. Makes sense.
Okay, the film won a Dragon Award for Best Sci-Fi or Fantasy Movie.
Okay, that also makes sense. Although Dragon Award, that's an interesting naming for it.
Yep. Let me take this. Okay, so Wonder Woman won a Best Sci-Fi Fantasy at the Empire Awards in 2018.
Okay.
Let me take a look at this again. So Wonder Woman won a Best Comic Book Movie in award from the Golden Tomato Awards from the Rotten Tomatoes Awards show.
Yeah.
Of course. This film won many Golden Trailer Awards, including Best Summer Blockbuster Poster, Best Fantasy Adventure, Best
The poster was amazing to look at.
Yep, definitely. Let me see. Look, I just keep going down. Is that like Golden Trailer? Yeah, so they actually won multiple Golden Trailer awards.
Whoa.
This film did win a Hugo Award, as I previously stated. The film won a Los Angeles Online Film Critics Society for best blockbuster.
All right.
The film won best MTV fight scene between Gal Gadot and the German soldiers.
Really?
Which I think that is pretty sweet.
That's fitting.
Let me just take a look at this, see if there's any more wins here. Gal Gadot won a Virtuoso Award at the Santa Barbara Film Festival for the award.
What does that mean?
Let me say Virtuoso Award.
Yeah, like is it something specific? Is it basically like an actress Oscar?
I'm not too sure. I think that it's just like one of the best awards that they specific festival can give. Let me just see what we... Okay, so Gal Gadot won a Best Actress Saturn Award for this
There
movie.
you go.
Very, very nice right there. I really do hate that Chris Pine was only nominated for everything. He didn't win anything.
Wow.
So it's like, this dude deserved to win everything. This film won a Screen Actors Guild Award for outstanding performance by a stunt ensemble.
All right.
Very nice right there. Let me just see what else we got. Okay, so at the Teen Choice Awards, this film won Choice Action Movie. Okay, so Chris Pine did win Choice Movie Actor at the Teen Choice Awards.
Okay, that's at least good. At least teens know.
Yep, Gal Gadot also won Choice Movie Action Actress.
There you go.
And last but not least, I love this one, so I saved it for last. Gal Gadot won a Best Female Hero at the Women Film Choice Circle Local Festival.
Ooh, nice.
So basically, as you can tell, this film left a massive cultural impact on pop culture that's still being affected 5 years later.
Yeah.
To me, this film is the gold standard of any comic book. But maybe not the gold standard.
One of the gold standards?
One of like the gold standards to hold for DC movies specifically.
There you go. That makes more sense.
Basically, this film to me will always stand out as probably until future DC films come out anyway, as probably one of the top 5 or at the very least top 10 best DC movies, live action ones
Absolutely.
Anyway. The fighting is fantastic. The action and the fighting, the performances and the writing all worked together in perfect harmony to give a cinematic experience that you just have to see for yourself. Not just to experience the DC cinematic universe, but to also experience, a lot of different things. Female empowerment, excellent period pieces.
Representation.
Exactly.
Not to mention the fact, considering that this movie takes place years before the other 3 movies, you could start right here, but then you'd be upset because you'll be followed by mediocrity. But who cares? You can still start with it, and you'll be set off with on a great path to whatever the hell the rest of for this franchise is.
Oh my goodness.
But still, all in all, this movie is one of the best comic book movies out there.
I will definitely speak to that, and I will stand very much tall. As of right now, the DC Cinematic Universe is going to be dropping 4 films for their franchise this year. So it's going to be a massive shift in the rankings of the films that have already been released. But as of right now, at the very end of February 2022, Wonder Woman 2017 is my favorite of the DC Cinematic Universe films.
Really? That's a bold claim right there.
Better than all 9 of them, better than the one show that's come out. This one is the standard I set to all of them. Oh, and of course, I basically said that very, very few of them have ever come close, but they have been getting better.
Some have gotten really close.
I would love that before the turn of this decade, or at the very least before 2025, for at least for there to be a second best picture movie of all of them, but I have yet to see it.
We'll see.
This movie is incredible in every sense of the word, especially for all of those young women who idolize characters like Wonder Woman because they get so little representation everywhere else. The fact that Wonder Woman was created by a man somewhat bothers me.
It is a little weird.
But then again, there was no way that a woman back in the 40s could have created a character like that.
But at least Marston created a good woman character.
Yes, basically, even if it was for altruistic reasons.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is his impact on pop culture and the world at large, giving Wonder Woman a voice to not only be the envoy of truth in all of man's world, to speak out against what you believe in, and Gal Gadot's performance encapsulates that perfectly. If you guys have been enjoying our film reviews, please watch the movies at your own leisure. But before you watch Wonder Woman, go into it and breathe a breath of fresh air for all of those, for future generations to appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, me personally, it's not my favorite of the DCEU, but I still think it is a solid movie to sit through. Like, it's like the action really grips you in. The performance of the actors, like, basically I'm repeating everything that Mike said because, well, it's just that. There are a couple problems, like, mainly, well, one, Ares, that's pretty, the CGI fight, that's pretty obvious. Yeah. The other thing, really, like, I feel like some characters' delivery was a little bit, could have been a little bit better.
How so?
I don't know, I feel like just the way, mainly it's just the way Hippolyta was written, it just, I feel like it could have been a little bit better, not so, overpowering or something like that, or helicopter parent, I don't know.
Overbearing?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But another thing that I found a problem, I kind of found some of the fish out of water humor a bit intrusive.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, not all of it. The ice cream gag, it's funny. The part where Diana blocks the bracelet against Steve, that's pretty good. And some of the stuff that she finds out about, like, the whole clothing store scene is great. I feel like some stuff, like, where, she just immediately steps out of the way and marries a baby, or just something sees over there. I feel like that was a little much. I feel like if they just, like, toned that back just a bit, I would give the movie a bit more slack. But still, regardless of those nitpicks, I still think this movie is really solid to watch. And it's honestly one of the best films out of the DCEU. Mm-hmm. So, in rating that, I have to give Wonder Woman 2017 around maybe like an 8.5 out of 10. Almost a 9, but those problems kind of set it back. But still, I think it's a good movie. Mike, what do you think?
After saying all that I've really had to say, Wonder Woman has never really been a go-to favorite character of mine, especially with all the stuff that's been done to her over the years, stuff that's been hindering my appreciation of the character, but there's really no denying that in my appreciation of all things feminine, cultural-wise, in all of pop culture, whether it be comic books, fiction, films, all of that, I always look for the strongest female characters to attach to and talk to about stories. Wonder Woman will always be one of my top 5 female characters no matter what happens. And Gal Gadot, Patty Jenkins, they did her right in this film, and especially Zack Snyder. Thank you so much for bringing this amazing character to life, and I hope that we'll continue to see her in incredibleness going into the future.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely you have my recommendation to watch this film. I would happily give this film a letter A ranking.
Yeah, so with the good ratings we gave this movie, it looks like the DCEU is on a good track, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes and no.
Until we get to the next part. We're not immediately going into that, as you guys know. We're going back to the MCU for the second to last installment of Phase 1 over there, talking about 2011's Captain America: The First Avenger.
Yeah, but then when we eventually come back to DC, we're going to be touching on Justice League, and
it's going to be a double-length review, maybe even over 2 hours long.
I don't know, but I think we'll mainly briefly touch on what happened and before versus what
No. I'm doing 10 pages on this bullshit. I have a microphone, I have a script, I'm getting this word out no matter what happens.
So, yeah, next time we see you in the DCU, we'll be talking about the Justice League movie.
Oh, yes.
Both of them, I guess.
Both of them.
That's going to be a hell of a task, but in the meantime, there's other things to review, but we'll see you guys next time. Until then, I'm Chris.
I'm Mike.
This has been Behind the Screens. We hope everyone has a great night. Thank you for listening, and take care.
Bye-bye.